The old mansion had always been a source of fascination and fear for the townsfolk. It stood on a hill at the edge of the forest, its dark, towering facade shrouded in tales of curses and tragedies. None who ventured into its ominous embrace had ever returned the same, if they returned at all. One gloomy autumn afternoon, a group of curious friends decided to challenge the legend that had plagued their town for generations. They had heard stories of a cursed mansion, where time seemed to stand still and leaving its grounds became an impossible feat. Undeterred, they ventured up the winding path to the mansion's front doors. As they entered the mansion, they were immediately struck by the unsettling atmosphere. The air felt heavy, as if it were resisting their every breath. The hallway was lined with portraits, each depicting a person who had once lived within these walls. Their eyes seemed to follow the visitors, their expressions a mix of sorrow and despair. The group explored room after room, marveling at the mansion's grandeur and decadence. But as the hours passed, they began to notice strange occurrences. A rainstorm materialized out of nowhere, with torrential rain and gusty winds that battered the windows and trapped them inside. Attempts to leave were thwarted by fallen trees, blocking the only path back to town. As days turned into weeks, the group's sense of time began to blur. They tried desperately to escape, but every effort was met with eerie obstacles. Sickness plagued them, one by one, and repairs were needed for the mansion's crumbling structure. The mansion itself seemed to conspire against them, as if it had a malevolent will of its own. One evening, as they gathered in the grand ballroom, a chilling realization struck them. They had become part of the mansion's cursed history. The portraits on the walls, which had once been mere representations of past inhabitants, now included their own haunted faces. The mansion had absorbed them, and they were trapped forever in its forsaken halls. Their voices grew faint as they whispered warnings to any future souls who might be drawn to the mansion's allure. The mansion stood as a grim testament to the power of the curse, its foreboding presence continuing to draw unsuspecting visitors into its depths. The cursed mansion on the hill remained a dark secret of the town, a place where time flowed differently, and those who entered were doomed to become part of its haunting history. The legends persisted, and the mansion continued to lure the curious and the brave, unaware of the sinister fate that awaited them within its cursed walls.